Good morning. I'm Anthony Mills, Director of City Services here at TMRS. I have my colleague, Debbie Munoz, Director of Member Services, with me here today as well. You'll hear from Debbie soon. We'd both like to echo Chairman Landis, who welcomed you to this year's annual City Conference. And I'll speak for both of us when I say it's our privilege to lead the departments at TMRS that has the most direct contact with our members and our partners in this enterprise, our participating cities. For TMRS, it is truly all about service, and we want you to know about the services that our departments provide and how we are improving those services for you. You've heard from our Executive Director, David Wesco, who's explained our Nyquist vision. That is, to be the very best retirement system in the country. You'd expect the best retirement system in the country to be committed to delivering superior service to our members and participating cities. And we are just that. The commitment courses through our entire organization, from our fully engaged Board of Trustees to our proactive Members Cities Come First Executive Director to the dedicated employees throughout our organization. Everything we do with you in mind. It's about you, our members, and participating cities. There's been a tremendous amount of work that's been done at TMRS since we last saw you face to face, so to speak. By now, most of you have probably noticed our new look. We have a brand new logo. This logo was unveiled earlier this year, and we're pretty proud of it. We think this new logo better embodies our bold, forward-looking vision as an organization. This logo captures the pride we take in our organization and the pride in our great state. We hope you like it as much as we do. So let's talk about TMRS and some of the services we're delivering to our members and cities in our departments. We're not new at this. Since 1948, TMRS has been the retirement system of choice for cities, towns, and villages throughout the state of Texas. TMRS, we currently provide retirement benefits to 896 cities, covering over 205,000 members, retirees, and beneficiaries. I've listed here for you our 5 largest participating cities that include San Antonio, Arlington, Corpus Christi, Plano, and Laredo. But we have diverse cities in TMRS, and those cities range in size, from our largest with more than 7,000 member employees to 13 different cities that have just 1 employee. In 2020, TMRS paid out more than $1.5 billion in retirement benefits to the more than 64,000 retirees and beneficiaries. In December 2020, the trust fund investment totaled $34.5 billion. TMRS, we're not a one-size-fits-all system. We have diverse cities with diverse needs, and we give our cities the flexibility at the local level to design the plan that best fits their needs. Each of you here today are members of TMRS in a plan that was not designed here in Austin, but it was designed right there at your local city hall. Each city has local control over its plan of benefits. Your city council selects the components of your plan from a menu of options, which includes the employee deposit rate, that's how much you and I as members pay into the system, your city's matching ratio, that is how much the city is going to match, 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1, or 2-to-1 match of the dollars and interest that we have in our own personal accounts. You also get to decide at the local level the retirement eligibility, vesting requirements, and whether to include features like updated service credit for your active members or the cost of living adjustment for your retirees. Some benefits can be changed prospectively. That is, you can change future benefits, and often this is done by a city to help control cost. But please remember that each city's plan is actuarially valued based on its own plan design, its own city demographics, and its own economic circumstances. We are a system of 896 separate retirement plans. Each city has its own actuarial assets, liabilities, and funded ratios. I won't cover this entire chart in any detail, but I'd like for you to take a look at it, and you're welcome to retrieve it from our exhibit hall later to use it as a reference document. But this chart illustrates to you the menu of those benefit options that's available to each city to choose from. And it shows the effective date for each of the provisions that your city could adopt should you choose to. As I mentioned earlier, each city has its own financials, its own assets, liabilities, and funded ratios. The benefits you choose impact your plan's financials. There's dynamic interaction between your city's committed benefits and your financials. Speaking of financials, for those of you who follow the financials, and we know that here with us today are many of you who come from a finance background, I wanted to make sure that you are aware of some of the resources available to you at TMRS, in our department, and in the Actuarial Services Department. Some of the frequent requests we get include questions like, where can I get my rate letter? That rate letter is important because it shows for you the actual valuation that was done for the year for your city's plan. It reconciles for you the assumptions that had been made about what your plan experience would be and what your actual plan experience turned out to be. It announces for you the rate for the upcoming year. And inside that rate letter, it shows you step by step how we arrived at that rate. We're also asked questions like, where can I run actuarial comparisons? You see the link here on the page. I'd also like to point out to you that the TMRS dashboard, it shows your city's plan. And I've talked about the dynamic play based on the plan design. But in the dashboard, you can see some of the dynamics that have been at play historically for your plan. And you can project going forward using that TMRS dashboard. I encourage you to take a look if you haven't done so yet. Those who are following the financials ask us often, what about my GASB 68 package? Where can I find that? How about the SOC 1 Type 2 report that shows the TMRS controls that our auditors are interested in? You can see the links here on your page, on the page. Who do I contact if I have questions regarding those GASB statements? You can send us an email at pensionaccounting@tmrs.com. And since we're talking about some of the resources that are available to you, that GASB package, you'd find that on the TMRS portal. That TMRS portal, let me give a shameless pitch here. If you're not already registered to use the city portal, I encourage you to get signed up. We're going to be happy to work with you to get you started. But more than that, we have information coming about a new and improved portal. You're going to hear more about that later in this conference. As I mentioned to you earlier, I have my colleague here today, Debbie Munoz, who's Director of Member Services. She's going to talk to you about some of the services that her departments provide for you.
Thank you, Anthony, and good morning. At TMRS, it's not uncommon to hear that we are in the member services business, and we are. We are here for our members. We're committed to providing superior service from the minute you enroll your employees to the time they retire and even beyond that. We absolutely cannot do our jobs without you, though. This is a partnership. What we do at Member Services and what you do back at your cities is vitally important. We're connected. And in order to be successful, we have to partner with you. Today, I'm going to share a little bit of feedback with you that I think speaks volumes to what we do and how impactful it is for our members. We had a daughter of one of our beneficiary payees contact us, and she said, look, my daddy retired after 28 years of service. He worked hard for the police department. I won't mention the city. And he said, look, the fact that after working 28 years and after being retired, when he passed, the fact that those TMRS benefits continued for 15 years to my mom is a true testament to who you are at TMRS. It's a true testament to the work that you're doing, to the funds that are being managed, to the work that you at the cities are doing as well. It is what we do. Some people say we're in the member services business. I like to say we actually touch lives. We touch people's lives all across this great state of Texas, and it's why I'm so excited to be here. It's what drives everything we do. Truly powerful words. We touch the lives of over 200,000 members in the state of Texas, and we're passionate. Hope I can express that to you as we go through these slides. So as y'all are all aware, I don't think I have to remind you, last year was a really tough year for all of us, both professionally and personally. We were impacted forever. COVID touched our lives in so many ways. And while shutdowns were forced all around the world, truly, our economy was impacted. We continued to provide services to our members. We didn't stop one bit. Our member service center, which consists of our call center, remained open. We continued to answer calls, make sure that our benefits were being paid out. We continued to provide virtual meetings for our cities and for individual counseling sessions. And most importantly, the benefit processing never stopped. Payments got set up for new retirees. People received their funds as expected, and we just continue without skipping a beat. Since then, the office has reopened. Yay, we're excited. Travel has resumed, but something that we all learned over this last year and a half is the fact that we are able to meet our members and our cities virtually. So those virtual services will continue indefinitely. We're going to combine the old and the new. We're going to continue to get out there and meet you in person, and we're going to continue to provide virtual services to reach those that maybe can't come to the meetings. So we're excited about what we learned over the last year, and we're just going to continue to move forward. What I'm going to share with you here is just a snapshot of our communications plan for our members. We provide annual statements to our members and to our retirees. The member statement is just an annual snapshot of what a member has in their account as of December 31st every year. And it serves as a reminder of what their benefits might be at some point down the road when they become eligible to retire. Our retirees receive a benefit statement that provides them their monthly benefit amount, and it also includes a cost of living adjustment if a COLA was granted. We also reach out to every newly enrolled member by providing them a member benefits guide. And then for those, as Anthony mentioned earlier, many of you who are interested in the funding part of TMRS, we provide a popular annual financial report that really simplifies some of the financing and some of the investments. And so I encourage our members to read that, what we call the PAFR, a popular annual financial report. And then as news happens and as things go on, such as our new legislation, which you will hear about later today, we communicate with both our members and our retirees and our cities via newsletters. We just revised our member newsletter. It's called TMRS Times, and we're excited to get that newsletter out to you. If you did not receive it, I encourage you to go to our website and pull it up and download it. It's fabulous, provides a lot of great information. Our Retirement Wise is a newsletter that goes out to our retirees. We try to get that out twice a year. And just like the TMRS Times newsletter, it provides retirees with timely information about their benefits. General member information is provided 24/7 via our website. Members can go to our website anytime they like. And then, of course, we communicate via our conferences. We provide regional pre-retirement conferences for those employees who are approaching retirement. We provide benefit fairs. We participate, rather, in those benefit fairs so that we can educate our members right there where they're at. And then, of course, we participate in association conferences such as TCAA or CLEAT as an example. Again, just making sure we're out there for y'all. We're out there touching and reaching our members to make sure they're educated about their benefits. All right, so I'm going to dive a little bit more into the services provided by the Member Services Department. A little bit later on this morning, Shannon Lucero is going to take a deeper dive into the services we provide. So I'm going to kind of give you a bird's eye view of what we do. We service our members by doing a variety of things. Member Service Center is really our call center and our travel team together. We answer every incoming call. We try to do that without transferring their calls. We update member data over the telephone if we are allowed to do so. What I mean by that is there are some things we can't do by phone, such as designating a beneficiary, but a member can actually designate a beneficiary by going to My TMRS. And My TMRS is our online member portal. It's secure and it's self-service, because some folks don't want to talk to somebody. They want to do it themselves without talking to anybody, hearing from anybody. And so My TMRS allows them to do that. We also provide written correspondence for those folks that like that written letter. It's really important for us that people know what they're eligible for. So, for example, when somebody becomes vested or they have reached that retirement eligibility and they start walking a little different because they're now retirement eligible, we send them a letter to let them know they've reached that milestone. Every new person, every new employee that's enrolled in the system, they receive a new member confirmation letter. Many folks look at that letter to verify the information we received so that if there's anything wrong, we can correct that. So again, it's kind of like a partnership that I talked about earlier. We rely on the information you provide us as a city, and we communicate that back to the member so that we can make sure that data is absolutely correct. We provide member counseling all across the state of Texas, both in person and virtually. We participate in benefit fairs, as I just mentioned, doing educational conferences. And then, of course, last but not least, we process every benefit that's available through TMRS. Member Services is responsible for processing all those applications, and I'll get into that a little bit further. All right, first let's take a look at our Member Service Center. Our Member Service Center really comprises of two teams. We have our call center, and our call center, I'm going to shamelessly go out and brag a little bit. I think our call center is absolutely fabulous. They are a one-stop shop. You call our call center, you're going to get a live person most, if not all the time. Occasionally, we get bombarded with phone calls, and you might hear a recording for just a few minutes or a few seconds even before you get a live person. And when you get a live person, it's a live TMRS employee. You're not getting an operator from Zimbabwe or somewhere out of the country. You're getting a knowledgeable TMRS employee who's going to be able to answer those questions as the members have those questions. Our average wait time is about 30 seconds. When we get busy, it might be a little greater. Sometimes it's a lot less. So we're committed to getting those calls answered and making sure we're providing the best service to our members. Our regional managers is really kind of what we call our travel team. They're also part of what we call the Member Service Center. Our regional managers are doing the member outreach. They're going out and doing the webinars, and they're participating in the fairs. And then, of course, My TMRS, that online portal that I talked about, that's available 24/7. So at a glance, our Member Service Center provides all these things. So taking a step further with our regional managers, because I do not want to get away before you know exactly what our regional managers can do for you, for the cities, and for the members. They conduct virtual member webinars. Really, over the last year and a half, they have not skipped a beat. They are out there conducting webinars for employees. They are providing those educational services, and they're also doing one-on-one counseling virtually. They can do those in person, they can do them virtually, and we're really committed to reaching as many members as possible. They participate in your benefit fairs. If you have a need for us to come out and man a booth, sit at a table, shake hands, make sure we have a good name and a good contact for those members, for those employees, to know who to contact when it's their time to retire, or if they just have a question as they're working for you. Those benefit fairs are vitally important to make sure we have that partnership and that connection flowing. Retirement seminars, same thing. We're doing our best to educate our employees about retirement. We want them to understand the benefits. We want them to know what they're selecting when they get ready to retire, because once they make those elections, that's pretty much it. They're kind of locked in at that point. And really, once they retire, they're usually not contacting us anymore. So we want to make sure they understand what the benefits are and what it is they're selecting when they retire. And then, of course, we have email correspondence, just like phone calls coming in every hour, every minute of the day. We have emails coming in as well. And our member service center, really our regional managers, are responsible for responding to those email correspondence that we receive. All right, and I talked a little bit earlier about our benefits processing. We have a team, actually we have 3 teams that comprise the benefit administration team. We have our member account services team, and they process, they're kind of like the member account upkeep and maintenance. They're processing if there's enrollment issues, they're taking care of those. If they're designating a beneficiary, if it's not done on my TMRS, we get a paper form. And so this team updates beneficiary information. They're providing providing services for credited service. If somebody's applying for military time, or they're applying for what we call restricted prior service credit, and again, we'll dive into what that is a little bit later this morning. But the member account services team, they're providing basically anything that has to happen to a member's account while they're working is going through this team. Now, when we get ready to pay benefits, that's what the retiree and refund services team does. Whether you have an employee who has terminated employment and is wanting to withdraw all their funds, it's what we call a refund, or you have an employee who has approached retirement and they're ready to actually pull the plug and start retiring and enjoying their money. This team handles all those applications. It's our money team. They're processing those benefits and making sure the benefits are paid out as expected. Our beneficiary services team, they are handling all the benefits for our beneficiaries. And, this is one of our most critical, I'm going to say critical team. The information that's provided is critical because the member and the retiree, they've passed away. So we're communicating with people that have never had any communication with us whatsoever. And so these are beneficiary services. We're talking to the beneficiaries perhaps at the greatest time of need. They're not wanting to think about benefits and money when they've just lost their loved one. So being able to communicate to our beneficiaries and provide accurate, timely information about the benefits that are going to be paid out. We're passionate about that. It's important to us. And so this team handles every single death claim that comes through. They're talking to beneficiaries, they're talking to survivors, and many times those benefits continue beyond even the beneficiary's death. So again, we've got 3 teams that comprise the benefit administration team. We're all dedicated to you, our cities, and to our members. So who exactly provides these services? Well, I'm the director. I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to oversee one of the biggest, actually the biggest department at TMRS. We got a lot of work to do. We're servicing over 200,000 members, and we're processing a lot of work. And so I am very fortunate to oversee what I think is one of the greatest departments around. We have our member service center manager, Chad Nichols. I could not do any kind of work that I do now without Chad. He's in charge of making sure that those phone calls are answered. We have 2 supervisors, we have call center representatives taking those calls, and as I mentioned before, we have those regional managers, the travel team going out and visiting with the cities. Chad Nichols manages that team. And then our benefits administration team is managed by Vicki Vasquez. Again, super fabulous manager. Could not do what we do without her. She manages those 3 teams, our membership team, our retirement team and refund team, and our beneficiary team. And that, again, it's a bird's eye view of what we do in member services. A little later this morning, we will dive in a little deeper to what we do. And at this time, I'm going to kick it back over to Anthony.
Thank you, Debbie. Let's continue with city services. So who's providing city services? Well, in late summer 2020, the new City Services Department was created with the focus to be squarely on our participating cities. Many of the functions that City Services provide were previously conducted throughout other parts of our organization, but they were consolidated into one department to make good on our commitment to deliver superior service to our cities. As I mentioned to you earlier, I do serve as Director of City Services, and we're really broken down and structured into 2 units. We have our Administration and Communication Unit, where Colin Davidson is our City Services Manager, and we also have our Contribution Reporting and Enrollment Team, the City Contribution Team, we call them, and that is headed up by Jennifer Andrews. She is our City Services Manager managing that division. You will interact with these sections of our department anytime that you have questions about your plan design, question about plan changes, wanting to understand how to communicate with your elected officials or your city administration about your plan, converting technical language into everyday language. That's what the administration and communication side of the house does. And when you're sending in your monthly payroll contributions to TMRS for your employees and your city contributions, it's going to be our city contributions team that works with you with those issues. TMRS and our participating cities, we're partners. I've said it already, that it's your plan. It was designed by you. But when we were created, again, the focus we wanted to have was laser-like focus to make sure that you know that you have the resource available to understand your plan. Some of the language, some of the information is technical. Some of the information is complicated to understand. But at City Services, we can assist you. We're there for that. Our City Contributions and Reporting team, when you have an issue with your payroll reports, Jennifer and the 4 representatives who are available, who are each assigned a city, and you probably know some of them by name. I will introduce to you the entire team here in just a moment, but they're available to assist you with those issues. Enrolling a brand new employee at your city. City Services, we're responsible for that as well. Very often, your elected officials, your city council, they need education and training about TMRS. They're busy. They have a lot on their plates. Very often, they look at TMRS once or twice a year during budget season. If you need a resource, very likely that resource will come from the TMRS City Services Division. City Services staff, we can meet with city administrators in person or online. We can meet you through Teams, Zoom, GoToMeeting platforms, you name it, we can be there for you. And fortunately now we can be there in person as well. You heard Debbie talk to you about some of the communications that are done for our members. Let's talk about some of the communications that we have for our cities. You can see the different types of communications that we send out and who we send those to at our cities. We can show you just how we go about delivering those communications and the schedule in which we send those communications out to our cities. You heard earlier when I mentioned to you about the annual rate letter and the valuation report. We recently sent you an email blast notifying you when your rate letters were available. Those of you who look at that rate letter, hopefully you found that email blast useful. The GASB 68 and 75 packages, we will notify you by email when those are available. We send personal email blasts to city managers. Very often our cities invite us out to visit with city councils and administrators, as I mentioned earlier. And now we can do that both in person and virtually. Just like our member services department, our unit also works with associations, member associations, but those that have more of a city function, like the Texas Municipal League Annual Conference, the Texas City Manager Association Conference that we recently attended. It was the first event that we attended in person since the pandemic began. The Texas Municipal Human Resource Association, the Government Financial Officers Association of Texas. Those are the types of conferences that the City Services Unit will attend in person. We do have lots of proactive communication efforts in city services. Now, our new cities, when they join TMRS, they receive a welcome letter from our Executive Director, Chief Service Officer, and from the Director of City Services. I'd like to welcome our most recent city to join TMRS, the city of Lono. Joined TMRS on July 1st. Our communication improvements, we're working to make sure that all of the correspondence that we send to cities, that it's clear and concise. We're trying to be more concise and clear with the e-bulletins, the email blasts that we send to you. We want them to have purpose, and we want them to be clear when they arrive at your inbox. We're proactive in notifying our cities of the services that are available. We sent notices out to cities this year when the modeling tool that we use to run plan changes for cities, when it became available, we sent a notice out to cities letting them know that we could now model plan change studies for them. And many cities took us up on that. We send news of current events to our cities. And we want, again, for those to be concise and clear. And we're continually making website enhancements to the city services section of our website. Services for TMRS participating cities. Let's start out talking about our city portal. Again, I plugged it once, let me plug it again. If you're not currently registered to use the city portal, many of our cities are, but if you're one of the few cities still remaining that hasn't yet registered, I encourage you to do so. We have staff waiting to assist you. The city contribution reporting system, our city employer reports, the member retirement estimates, the member enrollment, the census data, the SOC 1 audit report, all of that is available on the TMRS portal. And we encourage you to make good use of the portal. We've seen since it rolled out in 2010, many of our cities have gone from paper everything to moving online and electronic by using that TMRS city portal. Executive workshops. The City Services Department, we are responsible for putting together the content for executive workshops where we meet in person usually with city management. That includes city managers and administrators, finance officers, budget officers, HR directors, those who administer the plans at your cities. We conduct executive workshops around the state to make sure that you're always up to date with what's happening at TMRS. Our contribution system, that is a system that there has been and will be more training that will come from the City Services Department. You're going to hear from Jennifer Andrews and Colin Davidson tomorrow when they talk to you about some of the changes that are coming related to our city portal and building out a more universal city contribution system. There are resources for plan administrators that we'd like to make sure that you're always aware of. I talked about some of them earlier, and I ask that you take a look at our exhibit hall to see those resources that are available. New city onboarding. When a city joins TMRS, we had seven cities join TMRS in 2020. It's city services that will work with those cities to make sure that they know everything they need to know as they get started with their participation. Plan changes, cost analysis, and education that comes out of city services as well. We talked about the city dashboard, that dynamic tool that is available for those finance types who like to go and look historically and to project forward as to what's going on with your city's plan. And I encourage those of you who are in that field to take a look at our city dashboard. You'll also get a demonstration from our Director of Actuarial Services tomorrow in her presentation. She's going to demo that city dashboard. I mentioned to you earlier that I'd like for you to meet the entire city services team. So here they are. Hello, TMRS cities. We've created a city services department to expand upon TMRS's commitment to superior customer service. When we think about who we are focused on nonstop, it's our members and it's our cities. We want to be sure that our cities who've chosen to participate in this program, that they have access to experts who can help them in any regard that they need to administer the TMRS plan.
I am the first person you will probably talk to or see at TMRS, especially if you join the cities. Right away, we will have a lot of communication. If you're lost, I'm going to help you find your way. And I'm just here to support you in anything that you need with plan change studies or ordinances that you would need, contact changes. I'm also here to help connect you with your city services manager and with your payroll contributions team. I'm here to help you in any way that you need and definitely give you the guidance to the person that you'll need to get connected with in TMRS.
Each city in TMRS has a city services manager that's assigned to them. So if you have questions, come to us. This can include everything from your city rate letter to plan changes to how the plan works to gaining access to your online account to plan reports. Everything you need, you can come to us. We're really here to serve any needs that you have.
You would reach out to the city contribution team when you have questions on your monthly submissions, when you're enrolling new employees, when you have questions on who's participating in the plan, who's eligible for the plan, and when your payrolls are due. In order to make sure that the cities are getting the most out of our plan, some of the things that we'll work with you on is updating reports, making adjustments. We'll also make sure that all of the members have the appropriate amount of credit in their account. It's so much more than processing a deposit into a member's account. We're actually helping people fulfill their retirement so that they can retire when they're ready.
There's really nothing more gratifying than to work with a city who is seeing an employee have finished a career and to know that that lifetime guaranteed stream of income will be there and we've played a big role in it. There's nothing more rewarding than that. We've talked about our City Services Administration team. I told you that Colin Davidson is the City Services Manager of this unit. He works very closely with our City Services Support Analyst, Veronica Escovedo. Anytime you have questions about plan design, plan changes, one of these two you're going to talk to at TMRS. When you need assistance anywhere throughout the state of Texas with your plan, in explaining it to your administration, in explaining it to your council, it's very likely that either Colin Davidson or myself will be the ones talking to your administration or council about those plan design issues. As I mentioned earlier, we provide ongoing educational resources for our cities and correspondents and city administration. Whenever you request a plan change to modify your plan, again, Veronica Escovedo or Colin Davidson will be your contacts. Let's meet again our City Services Contributions team, the entire team. Jennifer Andrews is the manager, the City Services manager of this unit. Ana Silva is our team lead. And you can see the rest of our City Services Contribution team. We have Rhonda Green, Ida Gomez, Amanda Martinez, and Rachel Mota. This is our City Services Contributions team. That City Services Contribution team, in 2020, they processed more than $1.6 billion, that's with a B, in member and city contributions from our 895 cities. Again, you've heard me mention 896 cities. That's because our most recent city joined on July 1st. In 2020, 895 cities sent us more than $1.6 billion in member and city contributions. This team enrolled more than 18,000 new members in TMRS, reduced payroll processing times by 60%, and continually promoted the use of the TMRS City Portal. Our enrollments by way of the portal grew to 6,123 new enrollees in 2020. That was an 18% increase from 2019. Let's talk a little bit about the modernization of the TMRS City Portal. The TMRS City Portal came online in 2010, and again, as I said earlier, since that time, we've seen our cities continue to make use of that portal more and more each year, going from an entirely paper environment to more and more online and electronic work through the TMRS City Portal. This is our most direct contact with our cities through this TMRS City Portal. You may be using the Member Center. You may upload documents through the TMRS City Portal, enroll brand new employees, download reports from the portal. Your city contributions can be uploaded through the TMRS City Portal. You get to manage your users and our Member Center. Again, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with our TMRS City Portal. We have a commitment that comes from the TMRS board, our leadership, our executive director, and all throughout our agency. What we have done is we've worked with cities to understand how you're currently using the City Portal and how we can make it better. Our board has committed to modernizing the City Portal and putting in place a more universal city contribution system for you to send in your payroll contributions to TMRS. You saw the statistics earlier. More than $1.6 billion in contributions coming into the system. 896 cities now participating in the system. We need a robust system, and what staff at TMRS is working on right now with a contracted vendor is to build out a modern, new TMRS portal. All of the functionality that you're already used to will still be there, but we are making it better with you in mind. You'll get more information about training for the new City Portal that should be released this fall. There's more information to come in the presentation tomorrow from Colin and Jennifer, who will talk about this project. And we look forward to unveiling this new City Portal to you and you making good use of it. That brings me to the end of our presentation today. I know I speak for Debbie Munoz when I say that member services and city services, having that most direct contact with our members and cities, we take great pride in the services that we deliver to you. We've attempted to show you the services that we provide, and we encourage you to make good use of the services available. We're at your disposal. Make good use. Let us know how we can help you. Thank you. Good morning. On behalf of the TMRS Board of Trustees, our Executive Director, David Wesco, and my 125 dedicated colleagues, some of whom are probably tuned into this event right now, we welcome you to the 2021 Annual City Conference, our first virtual conference. It was November 3rd through 5th, 2019, when we last saw you face-to-face at a TMRS Annual City Conference. Looking back more than a year and a half ago, I don't think any of us would have envisioned that our next conference would be a virtual conference. But Texas, like every corner of the globe, has changed the way we conduct business in the name of safety and personal well-being. Never let it be said that Texas can't adapt. We have. Just like many of you at your city, with a little ingenuity, TMRS, we've conducted meetings over Teams, Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting, you name it, we've made it work. To deliver not just good service to our members and participating cities, instead, we have our foot on the pedal to deliver superior service to you. If the attendance numbers to this virtual conference are any indication, you have also developed some degree of comfort with this virtual approach. We have more than 600 registrations for this event. That represents more than 330 different cities who are participating today. That's more than the last 4 in-person conferences combined. My colleagues and I, we've considered many of the topics that we could have presented to our participating cities in this virtual format and decided to bring straight to you some of the topics that we address for our members and cities on a daily basis. We also wanted to bring you up to date on new information that will be of interest to our cities, including the changes to the TMRS Act that affect our return to work rules and the exciting work that TMRS is in the midst of right now as we modernize and enhance the TMRS City Portal and build a more universal payroll contribution system for our cities. Our hope is that you're going to find these topics useful and engaging. We've pre-recorded the sessions on the agenda. The full program will be covered, as you heard from David Landis this morning, going to be covered from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. today and tomorrow. We've built in short breaks. We will follow the agenda, but just as we would if we were there with you in person, we may adjust the schedule if. After each session, the presenters will answer some of the most frequently asked questions about the session topics. You should have noticed the Exhibit Hall tab when you checked in to the meeting today. The Exhibit Hall will serve as a virtual booth. You will be able to interact virtually with TMRS staff, and you can access resource materials from the virtual member and city service suites. Our staff is standing by right now to assist you. Before we go to our first Q&A, I'd like to take a moment to recognize some people who are making this whole thing go. A big thank you to Audion LLC, located here in Austin, for the live streaming and the studio production of the videos that you'll see during this conference. Brandon, Ben, Adam, Nate, Emily, they're at the controls here in the studio, and they're quite the professionals. We thank them for the work that they've poured into this event. Additionally, I'd like to thank our in-house communication team. That is the TMRS communication staff, many of whom you may never meet in person, but their handprints, they're over everything that you'll see and hear from this event. Our communications director, Michelle Mellenwerch, thank you. A big thank you. A very special thank you goes out to Natalie Garza, who has coordinated between our internal staff and Audion, and she's done so much more. Melanie Thomas, Donna Neal, and Lizzie Stone are exceptionally talented and have done a superb job creating the conference website, PowerPoints, and so much more. Now, as I said earlier, we have some of the most frequently asked questions about each of the topics. My colleague Debbie Munoz and I conducted the previous session that you just watched. So Debbie,
Yes.
let's jump right into the Q&A for that session.
All right, Anthony.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Who do I call when I need help answering a city employee's question about TMRS?
Well, Anthony, we're all about member services and city services. You would contact the TMRS Member Service Center for any question you have at 800-924-8677, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. But don't forget, if you wake up at 2 in the morning, you're getting off a shift at 6 in the morning, whatever it may be, you can always go to our website at tmrs.com 24/7 and get the answer to any question you might have.
Great, thank you. Next question. Who do I call to have TMRS come out for a member benefit fair?
Well, that's the same answer, Anthony. You would contact the TMRS Member Service Center at 800-924-8677. I think I've got that number memorized. Or you also may email us at help@tmrs.com so that we can help you immediately and take care of your needs. Keep in mind, however, that the lessons we've learned from COVID, virtual sessions just like this one, can be very effective. TMRS can provide you with virtual training at any time. All the benefits of a booth at any time convenient to you can be set up virtually, and your employees would take advantage of that training. Virtual training is efficient, it's easy to schedule, and it's accessible for you and all of your employees.
That's fantastic, Debbie. I'm starting to pick up a theme here. So next question for you. The TMRS office, is it open?
Absolutely, we are open, but remember, it's best for a member to schedule an appointment by contacting the Member Service Center. We can meet virtually with members to eliminate the added expense of traveling to Austin. It's just easier and quick, but we can service our members however you need us to.
Great. Next question. Can an employee apply for retirement online?
No, not yet. Today, members need to download the retirement application from our website, complete the application and forms, and return those forms to TMRS. We are currently working on software enhancements to enable members to apply for retirement online. We're not quite there yet, but we will keep you informed of our progress.
That's exciting stuff. We know that's coming, and we can't wait to share updates as we get closer to that.
Absolutely.
So some of our cities ask this question: can I, the city rep, can I run estimates for my employees?
Absolutely, Anthony. City portal users can log into the TMRS City portal to run an estimate for an employee. Keep in mind, however, that the information on that estimate is personal and confidential for the member. So those estimates should not be prepared without the member's consent.
That's so important. We often talk to our cities about the fact that it is confidential information, and they do need to get the members' consent. We also remind our city reps that if the employee is logged into their MyTMRS account, they can actually see all the estimates that have been run. So if the city has run that estimate, then they should have gotten consent from the employees, because the employees certainly could see.
That's right.
Our members could see whether the city has run an estimate.
That's right. All right, Anthony, so now I have a question for you. Who can help me understand my rate letter?
Who can help you understand your rate letter? We can. In city services, we can. We also have an actuarial services department who can assist. But if you need help with your city's rate letter, we know that the information can sometimes be complicated. We encourage you to email or call TMRS, our city services department. You can contact us in city services at citycommunications@tmrs.com. You can email us at that address, and you'll hear back from my colleague Colin Davidson, who is the City Services Manager, or you'll hear back from me and we can assist you promptly with issues that you may be having with your rate letter.
Great. Thank you, Anthony.
All right. Well, those are some of the questions that we have gotten that would apply to the previous session that we just discussed. That brings us to the end of that question and answer. We're going to take a short 10-minute break. For those of you who are tuned in, take a look at your watches. We are set for a 10-minute break, and following the break, you're going to hear from Colin Davidson, who's going to talk to you about the capital review. This is a review of the return to work legislation that passed during this last legislative session. 10-minute break.